Hi there, it's Karen here. Welcome back. And today we're working on the Altered Index Challenge 2025, hosted by Suzanne at Nonstop Paper Crafts, where we have a series of prompts to try and create something on it's not an actual index card, but it's, well, I haven't got one. I've got one buried on my little tray, but it's the same size as a regular, I assume it's a regular index card, 4x6, but this is a mixed media card, so it'll be good to work on with mixed media. And the idea is that we do a mixed media based design. I think that's what we're aiming at. And as mixed media is not my strong point, if you've watched any of my videos, you'll see that's perfectly true. But I'm giving it a go, and I'm just occasionally, if I'm really struggling with a prompt, I'll do something else. But I'm trying to do as many of them as I can. So this week's prompt is underwater. So I started to think, well, what could I use for underwater? And I remembered that I had, must have been 3 years ago maybe, I'm not sure. Time just goes. I did buy 2 or 3 Your Creative Studio boxes, and one of them was based around seashells and things of the sea. So I'm thinking, well, underwater I could do something under the sea, really, which would be underwater. And I remembered I had a few things in that box left that I hadn't used, or there were some stamps with it. There was a variety of bits and pieces that were not easy to use in other projects. So I had put it all kind of away, and it's taken me a while to find it because I packed everything away when I got the room done. But I have now pulled out the box, found it, and pulled a few bits out. So that gave me a bit of a base. I already knew I had this stencil, which to me looks like waves of the sea or waves of water. So I'm going to start with that as my basis. And then I pulled out a few other things. I was thinking around my room, going around thinking, what could I add to this? What could I use as a focal point? That kind of thing. Because you don't want it to just be, just things on a page. You want it to feel like it has a bit of a point to it, and it has a bit of a, if not exactly a story, at least it's a scene that tells makes sense. It has a focal point. So I've got a picture in my mind. That always helps if you've got an idea of what you want to do. And as I go along, I'll show you the things that I found in my room, mostly stamps, stencils, and a few other little extra bits from the Your Creative Studio box that I might put on. I have to remember it's quite a small card, and I've got quite a lot of bits now gathered, so I don't think I'll be able to use them all, but hopefully in the end it will make a kind of a nice underwatery scene. That's the plan. So with this stencil, which I think I will tape down. I did that last time. I think it worked quite well. So I hadn't thought about it, but I thought I should. Get out a piece of old washi and just stick the stencil to the background, and then I can just work on it. Although we'll have to move it down a bit. Move it down as far as I can. It doesn't matter because I'm going to be trying to blend the colours, and I'm going to do blues, but I'm going to start with sort of darker colours and kind of try and blend it. So I've got quite pale bluey greeny colours at the bottom because that's where all the other things are going to be, well, most of them. So who knows how this will turn out. It's all quite exciting to try. I think it's the idea, the best bit is when you've come up with an idea that works with the prompt, and you've got things that would work with that idea, and then you've just got to find them. But once you've done that, it's quite a fun thing to do. And it's when you look at a prompt and you think, that doesn't say anything to me. It doesn't give me an idea, it doesn't give me a picture of what I could use, things that I've got, that I can't think of anything that would go with that prompt. That's when I'm in trouble. There is a prompt a bit further down that I'm thinking I don't even know really what it means, let alone how to depict it. So that could be a week. I'll do something different. I could do a Roxy's Weekly Challenge. Sometimes she comes up with something that I really want to go do, like I did last time. and I did the little playing card thing. Yeah, I think we'll stick with that. Hopefully that holds it down enough. So it's always a bit nerve-wracking when you've got an idea and then you first start. And is it all going to go horribly wrong right from the beginning? Just going to move this bit of tape up because I've realised it's going over the edge of my card. All right, let's try. Once I get when I get my background on, hopefully it'll feel like it's going in the right direction. Of course, I could always do it. Start it again. So I've got a range of blues here. So my first one is Faded Jeans. I have got a darker one, which I was thinking of using for the top, which is a chipped sapphire, but I thought that was just too dark. So I'm going to start with a bit of this and see how we go. Right, I'm just trying to use a bit of... I'm just going to do the little bit at the top. I don't want it super dark because otherwise you won't be able to see the things I put on top. This has got to be a background. That's the idea. I want it to just fade down the page, but look like water with all the waves. Okay. And the next colour, I think that's probably enough of that colour, because I want to do the larger part of it, the bottom, in the lightest colour. I've got Broken China. I mean, none of these sound very watery, do they? But we will see. They're just names. I might just speed this little process up of just doing my stenciling so that we can move on to the next bit. Done the Broken China. So the last two that I'm going to use, I've got Stormy Sky, which wasn't quite the colour I expected, but I think I can use it here. And then I'm going to finish with Speckled Egg, which is going to be the bottom layer, at the bottom of the sea. I know that in reality it's lighter at the top and darker at the bottom. I understand that. But for these purposes, if we're going to do a kind of a, go some sea, I want some frondy, seaweedy bits, and I'm going to have some shells and bits floating around and fish, things, an underwater scene. There's no good trying to do that against a dark backdrop, is it? So I'm kind of using a bit of poetic license here. Right, excuse me. Let's see how that looks, shall we? Okay, that definitely looks a bit like moving water, doesn't it? I think it looks a little bit too clean. So I think what I want to do, I'm going to bring in a bit of bundled sage, I think, and put in some bits of green here and there, but not where it was. I'm just going to shift it a bit, so beyond where the white is. So I might leave some white bits, but I'm just going to kind of, not at the top perhaps, but on some of the whiter bits, shift it a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to stick it there, just here and there. I'm not going to do it everywhere, I don't think. I haven't got a green brush. Let's see if that's helped, just to make it look a little less sort of clean. It's got a bit of, yeah, it's got a bit of the green running through. It looks a little bit more dimensional. I might do, just run lightly over with this. I don't know if that's going to help, not much. Maybe with this. Just want to try and knock back some of that white. Just soften. It's hard to tell. I'm sure you can't really see on camera, but it's the white is not quite as glaring. And over it a bit with this kind of gentle, soft green colour. I've got several greens and they're all very bright, apart from this one. And I thought this one would be good for the water. Yeah, I like that. Okay. So we have a background. Now what I want to do is do some kind of seaweedy, frondy thingies, you know, like with stamped. And I was thinking, well, what have I got? Have I got any stamps that are not, I mean, I don't have anything with sea themed or anything like that, or any fish or anything. I've got a few stamps with this Your Creative Studio. I've got some seashells and I have a seahorse, which I'm going to use as my focal point. But I hadn't got anything seaweedy. So I went searching amongst my Delusion stamps because they are sometimes, you can use them for different things. And I found this one, which I think is going to work really well. It's called In-Betweenies. So I think it's just if you're decorating, you know, an art journal or something, it's just a little bit of added interest. You can paint and you can stamp over the top of it to make it look interesting on the side of a page. I have used them a bit, but not very much. But I've had a bit of a try, and there's about 3 of them on here that I think work really well as seaweed. So I'm going to use them. Oh, and I've also found this one. This is called Stripy Curlicues. So it's kind of florally, but I'm thinking all these curly whirly bits. I don't know about this one, that might be too big. But I thought I could use the top of this, and that looks a little bit like weird seaweed, doesn't it? Does in my head. So I'm going to use a bit of that as well. So I think that's what I would like to do next, is put, because that's all part of the background, is putting some seaweed on. So, so put the blues and all the different blues away, or to one side, and we'll bring in the colours I think I'm going to use for the seaweed. So I've got some dried marigold, some scattered straw, and some peeled paint. I also thought I might use the bundled sage again, but of course I put that in the background, so it may not show up very well. Right, so the one, I think I'll use this one first. Got a nice big Ranger stamp block. It's handy for things like this. So I thought what is rather good with this is I can have these down here, up here. I can make them all different heights. So I'd have it sort of framing the page a little bit, and then just sort of around the bottom, and then have my focal point kind of floating about in the middle. That's the thought. And I might use one of these. So put this out the way a little bit. Okay. So I might just use that first of all. Not too high up. Just going up the side. put one down here. And then I'd have some of this one as well. Probably should be just using the block to stamp the stamp, not the other way around. I'm going to have that going right there. Yep. And right, I'm going to do it a bit sensible this time. Put it on there. Easier. Then there. Just a little one. Okay. Right, and a bit of the peeled paint. Pop that in between. This is an oxide, so it shows up. It's quite a lot more visible. So I've got to be a bit... I don't want it to be too dominant, so I don't want too much of it. But down here. There. All right. Oh, I'm going to get myself a clean piece. Oh, kitchen towel. Oh, not kitchen towel. Right. I'll try one of the other stamps now. That's this one. Okay. There. So they're very thin, but I quite like that they have that look of movement about them. You know, they're wavy. They look a bit like they could be waving in the waves to me. There. Another orange one. So we're getting this sort of seaweedy, floaty background, aren't we? I have one more I might try. That's this one. Let's take this one off. And we'll put this one on. Hope you're all well. I've I had a bit of a relapse over the weekend, but I'm feeling a lot better now. And a couple of days when I really wasn't very well at all again. But oh well. It happened. I think it's the nature of this virus. You feel like you're getting better, and I was really feeling good last week. And then I didn't for a couple of days. But a quick visit to the doctor and some antibiotics, and I'm back in action again. Couldn't do anything for a couple of days. Right, I think I might try the bundled sage with this one. See if I can just pop it, because it's a lot lighter and more subtle, but at the same time it might be quite nice just to have a few of that going in between as well. Do I have one going up? Yeah, let's have one going right up the middle. Why not? I think these stamps are really good for this. Really quite enjoy losing them. They're nice stamps. I mean, the illusions are also made by Ranger, as the Tim Holtz stamps are, so they're of the similar quality, or the same quality as the Tim Holtz stamps, so they're really lovely to use. And they're very different, lots of fun. I'm going to have one, I can see a gap that I want to fill. Right there. Okay. And let's do a little bit down here. Okay, enough before I overdo it, which is my tendency. Having too much fun, I'll just keep going. But I think we do have quite a nice, soft, subtle-ish background of seaweedy floating in the water. Now we want to add a little bit of detail. Some things that are floating that are perhaps a little bit more present, a bit more dimensional. So it gets a little bit more tricky. In that I've got a few things I want to use. Oh, I didn't use my other stamp, did I? Don't know if I need it now. I want to put that over the top. Maybe I'll just do one of those in yellow. Do the yellow. I'm just going to have a little bit of that quite near the bottom. Oops. Right, let's put a bit of scattered straw. Right there. Maybe that was a mistake. Should have probably done it on its own, not had it. But there's more stuff. It'll probably get covered up now. So not to worry. Not quite how I originally envisaged it. I did have a practice run. I'll show you my practice run, which looks better because I didn't overdo the background. So I had these and I put that on its own and it looks fine. But obviously with all this extra in the background, the extra colour, it hasn't quite worked as well, which is fine. Because I've got some more things to put on, so they'll probably disappear anyway. So I have got many things in my little tray. So from the Your Creative Studio box, I have quite a few chipboard pieces. So I've got some chipboard seaweedy things, quite large chipboard shells. I've got I don't think I want him, octopus and a jellyfish. No, don't want those. So I might use some seaweed. Oh no, I've got one other thing I might want to do first, but anyway. I've got quite a pretty little shell. That might work. Don't want any of the big things, really. Another little shell. So certainly don't need more than that. Got more shells and things in there. Also a couple of shell stamps. I have some tissue paper. I thought I might quite like to put on somewhere, but now I'm not so sure, now that I've done that background, because I thought of using this for showing seaweed and the background before I found those dilution stamps. And now I'm not so sure I want to use it. I've got this stencil that I want to do something with in a moment. What else? I've got some shell stickers. Could put one of those on. I got some paper. So that's a bit of seaweed that could go on, I don't know. And again, some things that I could tear out, not sure. So I'll put that aside. And again, there's a little pack here. And I think there's some, these might have been from a book that I think I just left them in cut them out of a book. There's a few nice little shells as well. They're different, add a little bit of different colour, don't they? A bit more colour. So I could use a couple of those. Maybe. I've got a few of those. So, and the other thing I have, I'll show you the main piece. I've got this piece of fabric. As you can see, it's covered in shells and little fish. This is a piece of fabric I used for my granddaughter's journal that I made her for her first year. Just for the pretty colours, really. But I thought, well, that would make that'd be quite nice to have a few little fish floating around. So I have cut a few out of the fabric. So I've got a few of those, and I've also had made a couple of little ruffles from it. So I don't know if they'll make an appearance, but you never know. Just to decorate the side of the card, I might just use one of those because they've got the same underwater feel to them. I might cut them down, make them smaller. Well, I won't use them both, just one of them. I thought I had 5 fish, now I've lost one. One has swum away. I definitely cut, oh no, there's one hiding. There we go. So I've got a few there. So yeah, I've got a few things. But, well, obviously they're not all going to go on here. I'm thinking these, well, they might be alright for sort of a bit of a, one of them might be okay. One shell stamped on here. Don't know. Right, let's work on some interest down below. So I have got this piece of paper with, not sure, I quite like my background. I could put some little shells down there. Is that too much? I think I'll stick with just shells. I've got a few of these are just cut out of a book. Doesn't really look much like a shell, does it? It looks a bit odd. Okay, let's have another one. Let's do a shell here. Did I cut any more out? Thought I did. Maybe I didn't get them out the bag. Excuse me, just reaching across. See if I can get any. There is another one cut out already. It's quite a nice one. So maybe I'll do a few shells around the bottom, and then I could stamp, maybe before I put those down, stamp this in the background with brown, because all of these seem to have a brownish look. Getting all the stamp inks out today, aren't I? I think I might just ink that up. I've never been able to get the backing. Oh no, this one has come off its backing. Oh good, because a lot of them they won't. I've never been able to get them off, so that's good. Backing's off, so I can put it on a block. That makes life a bit easier. Is it going to stick? Yes, it will. Oh good. All right. So I might just put that seashell. Whoop. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Make a mess. Pull these down a little bit. So, like that. Maybe like that. Excuse me, still having the odd little cough. It's not too bad now. I think my husband's cough's worse than mine now. It's very unusual for him to have a cough. Okay. That's a seashell. Looks alright. Looks quite... it's a nice definition on these stamps, on these Your Creative Studio stamps. So... just try and place these maybe like that. I might cut these out as well because they add a little bit of colour, a bit of extra colour. I don't want to cover up all my background now, of course, because I like it. Maybe just this one. So these are chipboard. I tend to feel they should go on top, but I'm not sure. Go over like that. Maybe that can just lie on there. Not sure about that one now. No, I don't think I like that after all. Ooh, what about one of these stickers? Let's see. Shell stickers. Oh, they're transparent, I hadn't realised. So perhaps I'd have one of those up here. And maybe we can put a little one. There. And I was wondering about my little fish. How will they fit in with all of this? I thought they would work quite well, just darting among the fronds. Aren't they cute? One's going to dive behind those shells. Don't know if I've done enough. I think I probably have. You don't want too many of these. One of them's making a bid to go to the surface. Got to leave room in the middle for my seahorse, that's the word. So that's going to go kind of here. Maybe this way, maybe that way? No, this way. So okay, so something like that. Okay, I think that's beginning to look quite underwatery. I like that. Move these out of the way while I get the shells stuck down. And then this big boy with the fancy frilly bit can go on the corner. So because these are a bit thicker, it gives it a little bit more dimension. I was worried they'd be too thick because they're chipboard, that they'd feel too thick to go on something like this. But actually, if you don't use too many, they're not too bad. There was a really small one. I don't know whether I can fit in another one. That may be enough. Just have them clustered on the seabed, really. So I think what I might do is I'll do the fish last, because I want to make sure the seahorse goes where I need it to go. And I've got a bit of work to do with that. Right, so I've got my seahorse stamp. The name of it eludes me. I'm just wondering if this will come off. Oh, it is going to come off. I think when they were new, they were a bit too well stuck on. So I could, but I will use a stamp block I had out earlier, which I have now. I can't see it. No, let's go. Sorry, I had to take my jumper off. I got warm. I always get warm when I'm crafting. Right, so I've got my stamp block. Pop him on. So I'm going to stamp on this, which is that mixed media card that I've got a little bit of left, not much left. I used it in when I was doing the little houses. And what I'm planning to do, I have to be quick about it, so I'm going to get everything ready. I'm going to stamp it with my Warm Breeze from Versafly Claire, and then I'm going to sprinkle it with some transparent embossing glaze so I can make it shine. That's the idea. I hope it works. So, I mean, I can always do it another way, but I'll try it this way, see if I get enough of the embossing powder sticking to the ink, because it's quite a juicy pad. So I really shouldn't be doing it on the card, should I? It's a very detailed stamp, this, so it's quite good. Okay, pop it in there. See if I can get enough of this to stick without using embossing pad. Hopefully it will. Oh yes, I think it has. Oh, that's good. Right, and I've just got my heat tool. Let's see, I'll mute it, but I'll let you see the transformation, should there be one. Oh, that went really well. I don't know if you can't really see, but it's now quite shiny. And it's a lovely colour, so it'll show up beautifully against there. Now all I've got to do now is cut it out. I'm just wondering if there's anything else I want to do to it to make it a bit more sparkly. I might do that after I've cut it out. So I just need to find my little scissors. Got these scissors. Yeah, so cutting it out is going to be a little challenging because it's very detailed. I don't want him to lose any of his little spines, so I'll do the best I can. I decided to give him a little border instead of trying to get right into all the little nooks and crannies. And also, as you saw, I kept swapping my scissors because I wasn't sure those ones were as sharp as these, which I don't think they were. So, apart from the little bit round his tail, these were the better option because these are newer. I haven't had them very long, so they're still nice and sharp. And I think I have him. I wonder if one's enough. I'm beginning to think I might need a couple. Yeah, he's not really quite big enough on his own, is he? He needs a missus. Okay, not planned, but I think I'll do another one in a different colour. What colour shall I use? There's the peeled paint, which is this colour. Would that work? I think it might. I don't want them identical. I wish I could have one going facing the other way, but that's the thing with stamps. You can't switch them on. I'm sure there's a way of doing it, but I don't know how. And I'm sure I'd mess it up if I did. So, get another piece of mixed media card and try again. I do already have another one stamped on this card, but it's the same colour. Would that matter? That could be. What I could do is I could emboss it with a different colour, because this was clear, so it's got a bit of a shine. But my other option to emboss it was silver. So maybe if I embossed this one with silver, it would look different. The same but different. I'm hoping that the bit of the colour would shine through a bit still. Let's just try that. Can always do the green one if that doesn't work out. So I'm going to need to stamp with my Versamark embossing stamp this time and hope I get it more or less, but it doesn't matter in a way if it's slightly off, because you're more likely to see the blue if it's just slightly off centre. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, all the blue ink's coming off. Never mind. Never mind. Oh, never mind. Down there. Let's see if we can get it to line up. That's not quite what I wanted, so I'll have to do it manually. Now press it down. Okay. Silver embossing powder. Let's see how this one turns out, shall we? And this time I'm going to hold the card with my tweezers because I nearly burnt my fingers last time. Right, so there he is. We've decided that he's the husband. This is the little wife. She's much prettier than he is, I think. But yeah, I think they'll look quite good just floating around there. And I want to add a little bit of sparkle to them. It's got about Cosmic Shimmer, Cosmic Twinkles, love it. And I managed to get some more, so I can be quite liberal with it. I just think it gives an extra something, gives it a bit more sparkle and dimension. Just have to squeeze a bit harder at the moment because it's getting a little, well, it's not getting empty. It's not as empty as I thought it was. Just spread some around, and then I'll use my finger just to pop it everywhere, and that just gives them an iridescence. Oh yes, that's what it needed. Okay, that one there, and our mate. I mean, they could be just good friends. Right, so all I need to do now is glue these two guys on my card. I'm going to put him down here. I think the glitter, the Cosmic Twinkle, I think it's almost dry. So I'm going to try not to touch it. Okay, have another shot at this. I'm quite pleased with how these little seahorses have turned out. Pop in amongst the amongst all the seaweed down there. Use my tweezers. Just try and make sure he's stuck down without getting glitter all over my fingers. Okay, let's do this one. And then we'll put our little fish on. Have them in and out around the place, just to give it a bit of life, a bit more life. Okay. It's really good. Let's see where we want our little fish. I don't know if a ruffle would work on here. I don't think they would. Just need to trim this off a little bit. It's curling up. Well, I'll try and glue it down. Let's place them. I'm going to have one coming up out of here. One coming down there. One, I think, heading for the surface. I coughed a little while ago while I was off camera because I had to change my battery, of course. And all my little fish scattered to the winds. I've got to search for them now. Put that one down there. That one down there. Yep, I think so. Our glitter glue should be fine with these. It's not thick fabric. I think they're so cute. Not sure about that one quite there. Move him down a bit perhaps. Ooh, he's popping up. on there. And coming up from the shells. I'm going to make him go a bit further up. Whoops! Oh, I think my finger stuck to the glitter. Okay, there we go. Our little fish darting in and out amongst all the seaweed and seahorses. And a finishing touch. I had thought about going round it, giving it a border with my glimmer paste, which would have looked lovely. But instead I think I'm going to settle for some splatters. I've got this Heidi Swap Colour Shine in teal. I'm going to try and just do a few splatters. Should have a little bit of sparkle in that as well, though I'm not sure it'll show. Let's see if we can do this. Yep. I think that might be enough. Boom. Yep. Got some splatters on there. That's good, like that. So there we are. Possibly quite a long video as usual, but I will try and speed up some of the processes so that it doesn't take quite as long as it took me to watch it. It took quite as long for you to watch it as, no, quite as long for you to watch as it did for me to make, is what I'm trying to say. Because it was a bit long. But it was fun, and I'm quite pleased with how it's turned out. And it was nice to use up some of those products that I've had sitting around for a while that I never thought I'd use again. So thank you for joining me for this one. And I will see you next week for... Ooh, next week it's vintage is the prompt. So that should be fun. There'll be too many choices then, won't there? So I will see you soon. Bye for now.